Hey everyone, it's Kristen. So it was like no like 80 degrees here, and now it's like 40. I mean, and so I'm wearing one of my favorite sweaters, which it has like this like kind of butterfly or bat wing sleeve. I can't remember what it's called. Dazzler hates it, so yeah, she'll probably attack me. I feel like she thinks that this excess fabric is meant for her to grab. Anyway, so yeah, 40 degrees, which I mean, it's April, which is so weird, but I will take it because, before you know it, it's going to be triple digits here and it's going to suck. So I will happily take it while I can. So for today's Sunday, obviously. So on this calendar, they do Saturday and Sunday together. So that is Moon Knight, which I feel like we've talked about him. I feel like we've talked about most of these characters. So I'll just do like a brief overview. I'm pretty sure he hasn't had a stamp series because his first appearance was in Werewolf by Night 32, 1975. And so far, well, I think we've had actually a couple of characters from 75 in here. So who knows? He might be in here. Anyway, yeah, I feel like I've talked about him. Probably he made an earlier appearance, in this because he hasn't had a stamp yet. So I'll just briefly kind of go over him. So the Egyptian moon god, he basically kind of looks for people with what he calls weak minds so that he can connect with them and so he can kind of use them like to be his avatar, his representative. Um, so when Mark Spector is a, a young boy, he believes he has a friend named Stephen Grant, but the friend is actually him. So he's friends with himself. He just believes it to be another boy. And then he develops another personality in high school, Jack, and so at this point, his parents have put him in a mental institution because, now there was Stephen, now there's Jack. So he escapes from the mental institution and joins the Marines, spends, I think, 3 years in the Marines, and then is discharged because they found out he lied on his application that he has a history of mental illness. So from there, he becomes like a boxer and a mercenary, and he briefly worked for the CIA. But mostly he's a mercenary with his pal Frenchie, and he hooks up with this guy Bushman, and he and Bushman, this is how he becomes Moon Knight, have a disagreement over how things should be run. Because Bushman is a lot like Frenchie is like a very stand-up guy. Bushman is like on this complete opposite, and so Mark is kind of somewhere in the middle. But Bushman, they had a huge disagreement because Bushman wanted to, well, let's just say his um idea was to raid this temple and kill all the witnesses, and of course Mark didn't agree with that. So Bushman basically left him for dead, and he ended up making it to, kind of a civilization, and the locals took him to the temple of the moon god, and the moon god granted him these powers and healed him. So Mark's brother Randall, Randall was also a mercenary, but he's like bloodthirsty. He actually killed Mark's girlfriend Lisa, and he actually saw him become Moon Knight, get these powers, and he tried basically for himself to have those powers too and got nothing. So he is resentful of Mark and tries to, mess with him and kill him basically. Yeah, so that's a brief history of how, he became Moon Knight. Like I said, I feel like I talked about him before. Oh, and some people compare him to Batman because he used the money he made as a mercenary and used his Stephen Grant personality to invest those funds into a business, and it's become a really successful business, and now he has a lot of money. And he used his Jack personality to become like a cabbie, like the eyes and ears of the town. And so they, and he has this, this upgraded suit and weapons. So people compare him to Batman. I don't know. I don't really like, I get it, but I don't really see it. I don't know. I mean, they do that with Daredevil too. They compare Batman and Daredevil because they both have like handle mostly street level crime, even though they have their big bads. So yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, and Moon Knight joined the West Coast Avengers for a little while, and he had like a short, brief relationship with Tigra. He had a sidekick at one point, Midnight. So maybe that's also where the Batman, you know, comparison comes in. I don't know. Anyway, so so there's that. And then for this, Dazzler's currently chattering at birds in the window. Oh, so the Green Goblin, one of Spider-Man's like most notorious villains. And oh, there she is. So this stamp is from Incredible Hulk 174, April 74. Also appears Marvel 2 and 1, number 6, November 74. And they got this from Amazing Spider-Man number 98, July of 71. Art by Gil Kane and Frank something. And it says on the captions, losing your grip, or the top speech bubbles, losing your grip, Spider-Man. It had to happen. I planned it this way. So he first appeared in Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 14, 1964. And he, like I said, has been one of Spider-Man's most notorious long-standing villains. Like, he has made it his mission to destroy Spider-Man. I mean, Norman Osborn is... Well, I mean, he was... Even before he, added the formula, the Green Goblin formula to himself, he was pretty ruthless. He framed his business partner for embezzlement and had him sent to jail so that he would be the sole owner of Oscorp. I mean, that's pretty ruthless. So and he found his business partner's notes. Sorry, my contact is like acting up. There's probably some dust in there. Anyway, sorry. He found his business partner's notes for like a formula that would enhance strength and like, durability, just enhance human physical traits and stuff. And so he took it, even though it wasn't complete, he took it and became, the Green Goblin. And he has this measure of psychosis now, which, well, actually, it's later revealed that it's mostly due to Mephisto, because they struck a deal for the original, for Harry's original soul, and basically this deal has driven Norman, further like into madness. And they're like pretty much any, like I said, any villain, there have been times when he's been cured, and then he cured, he has amnesia and forgets all about the Green Goblin, forgets, kind of about that part of his life completely. And then something triggers to where he remembers again. So, but I mean, it wouldn't, writers have to kind of think of ways to keep it the same, but make it still seem fresh. So I think that's why they do this whole, oh, he's normal. Oh, wait, no, he's not normal, kind of going back and forth, this vicious cycle. Because, the Green Goblin, like I said, one of Spider-Man's most enduring, like, villains. So he's responsible for the death of Gwen Stacy. If you haven't read that story, oh my gosh, you should. It just tugs at your heartstrings. It's so emotional. And of course that was the subject of Amazing Spider-Man, the movies with Andrew Garfield. And I feel like William Dafoe in the original Spider-Man trilogy, well, I mean, William Dafoe just makes a really good villain. He has that face, that sinister smile. He just makes a really good villain. He did a really good job. Oh, and of course he came back in, the Spider was it No Way Home? That yeah. Anyway, the Tom Holland movie where Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield came back. Of course he was in that one too. Um, yeah, so he was responsible for the death of Gwen Stacy and also for the Clone Saga, which a lot of people groan. They didn't like that, that saga, which I get it. But at the end, Ben Riley, because Norman tried to convince Spider-Man that he was actually a clone and Ben Riley was actually the original Spider-Man. And then we saw Ben Riley sacrificing his life to save Peter. And upon being like impaled by the Green Goblin's glider, he kind of disintegrated, which is what clones did. So then Peter knew for sure he was the original. And then that also led to, because Norman framed Peter, for murder and in making it look like he was beating him up on television. Anyway, so that also led to Spider-Man creating, in the 90s, those four new, it was like 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there, those four new identities where they're like, who is, this character and who's this character? And anyway, so because he was considered a fugitive, so he invented those new four identities, which it's escaping me what their names are right now because, I mean, you know, after the Clone Saga, a lot of people were just like, "Oh, really?" And that kind of was like, also kind of like, "Oh, really?" I mean, I liked it. It was interesting. It was different. It was fun. But yeah, I can understand why a lot of people didn't like it, especially the Clone Saga, because clones just make things complicated, just like time travel. Time travel makes things very complicated because we don't know exactly how it works. I mean, how could we? Anyway, and then of course there was the in like 2009, the Civil War, and he was put in charge of the he became Iron Patriot, and to basically hunt down any superheroes that hadn't registered for because of the Superhero Registration Act. So, and they recently came out with that 3-pack, Marvel Legends 3-pack with him in it. And because Doom and Iron Patriot, and then, wow, I just went blank. What's the other one? Man, I don't know what's wrong. Well, okay, I haven't been sleeping very well the last couple nights because I am a super light sleeper and it's been storming, like lots of thunder, lightning. So I haven't been getting much sleep because it's hard to sleep through that. It's impossible for me to sleep through that. I will just say that. I mean, and just like you try earplugs and like for some reason they just fall out. And I don't know, maybe, well, and the whole, noise canceling headphones, that's not very comfortable to sleep in. So anyway, I just feel like I'm just, like fuzzy today because of that, I guess. So anyway, that 3-pack Taskmaster, that's it. Oh my gosh, thanks. It came back to me. I was really like super tempted to get that, even though I mostly only collect X-Men action figures. But I thought that just looked awesome. And a lot of people wanted that pack specifically for, Iron Patriot, which I was kind of surprised by, but at the same time, he's a cool looking character. And he actually went on to kill the Skrull Queen during the Skrull invasion. So we kind of leveraged that into everyone looking at him like he was a hero. And then he used that to become the new director of Hammer. It's like a superhero, initiative of the government sort of thing. And he created his Dark Avengers during that time. And then at some point, of course, it was revealed that, he's not a hero. And at some point down the line, he like merged with the Carnage symbiote, and that was also a crazy story. And Spider-Man destroying the Carnage symbiote while they were bonded basically made Norman go even further kind of into madness, and made him think that he was actually Cassidy instead of himself, and he thought Spider-Man was him, like Norman. I don't know. It was a weird story, but just, I mean, pretty much every single Spider-Man show you can think of, the Green Goblin has always, or even the trilogy of movies, he's always been a part of them, because he is like one of Spider-Man's most well-known foes. I mean, he wasn't originally a member. He wasn't a member of the Sinister Six originally. Oh well, I mean, because he basically wants to dominate. Like, I feel like he wouldn't be good taking orders from anyone. Like, he wants to be the own. Like, at one point he did call himself like Goblin King. It was like the kingpin of crime in New York City. So he wants all the power for himself, basically. That's why he would never be caught, working. Like, even though he was part of the, like his Avengers, and then he was still in charge. I mean, with the Sinister Six, it always seems like it was more Dr. Octopus that was in charge. Anyway, so yeah, he's just a very interesting villain. I mean, I could sit here and talk about him for another like 5-10 minutes, but I won't, because this video has already gone on long enough. So I will just end it right there. Oh, I haven't seen the new Spider-Man cartoon. I am eventually gonna watch it, of course. It's just life, so much to do, work, all those sorts of things get in the way, unfortunately. So, and of course, like I said, Green Goblin, he's in there too. He's in every single incarnate, even Spider-Man and his amazing friends, he was in, of course. So anyway, I hope you will join me again in the future for more videos. And yeah, what do you guys think? Like, is Green Goblin like Spider-Man's definitive villain? I mean, I think so, because he goes out of his way to make Spider-Man's life like miserable. So anyway, so until next time, bye.